time lurks here. This is what we know in our bones. And this is why we come to the mountains. The White Mountains, simply named, an apt description of granite summits burnished bright by ice, wind, and time.
My dad loved riding the pass on his motorcycle, and unfortunately he died this week on July 4th, pretty unexpectedly. I mean, he had ALS and he had been battling that for over 3 years, but his death was still very sudden. I'm blessed that I got to spend time with him last Friday, and my brother and sister-in-law and niece also got to spend time with him, and he was the best man in the world, my absolute hero, my rock, my best friend. So I'm sort of doing this drive for him and going to the top of Mount Washington, which he also loved to ride his motorcycle up to the top, to the summit. And I'm just thankful that because of him, I have these morals and principles in my life, and I practice kindness and compassion towards other people. That's all because of him. And I will take care of our cabin. He loved the cabin in Freiburg so much, and I vow to take care of that cabin. I vow to stay sober and live my life how he would. Love you, Dad. In 1864, the White Mountains became more accessible to tourists when the Boston and Maine Railroad brought its lines into Conway. It's a 3-day stagecoach journey from Boston. Became an easy 4-hour train trip. So it became a huge tourist destination. And this spot has been around since then, Rocky Gorge. Welcome to Passaconaway along the Swift River. So we're here at the historical Russell Colbath Homestead. In October, we were actually able to go into the house, and there was a guide in there explaining the history. There he is. It's a cool timeline, the changing valley landscape. So the Russell Colbath Homestead is all that remains of a vital farming and logging community that once flourished here. So there's the homestead. We got a little cemetery here as well. Ruth Priscilla Colbath. Passaconaway Cemetery. And here's the homestead. Yeah, when we were there in October, the fireplace was lit. It was really cool to see inside. 1832. Sugar Hill, Three Sisters, Hedgehog Mountain, wow, these signs are old. Need some updating here. Mad River Notch, East Peak, it's over here, Mount Wolf, Black Mountain, peak baggers and 4,000 footers. Some hikers called peak baggers kept a tally of the mountains over 4,000 feet high that they have scaled. Wow. This couple became the first to scale all 48 of the 4,000 footers of New Hampshire during winter. It's pretty incredible. A brief history of hiking in the White Mountains. Originally daunting and terrible. The first trails. Abel Crawford built the first footpath to the summit of Mount Washington. Oh, Henry David Thoreau, all over New England. Like, I know Clark's Trading Post has been a White Mountains attraction since like 1928 or whatever. I'm just still on the fence about like their treatment of bears. Like, they do live, you know, bear shows. That's their thing. And I don't know how I feel about it. Like, the poor bears, you know? I don't know, man. 1961, Portsmouth, New Hampshire couple Betty and Barney Hill experienced a close encounter with an unidentified flying object. 2 hours of lost time while driving south near Lincoln. We're now driving through Franconia Notch State Park. This is Flume Gorge, which I've actually never done. It takes a couple hours to do the whole thing, but eventually I would like to do it. Oh, here's an old sign. Franconia Notch State Park. You are here, so we're going up Flume Gorge. We'll go to the basin, go to the Old Man on the Mountain Profiler, Cannon Mountain, the tram. Here's some old postcards about what it sort of looks like in there in the Flume Gorge. What What is a flume? Guide to the flume. Wow, there's a payphone at Flume Gorge. No dial tone. Mammals of Franconia Notch. Look at all those mammals. All right, we're here at the basin. Let's check it out. Can't go anywhere in New England without a Henry David Thoreau quote. This pothole is perhaps the most remarkable curiosity of its kind in New England. Boise Rock. I've never seen this before. This old kettle is one of the few remaining articles produced from Franconia iron.
Another example of Yankee ingenuity is the cog railway running to the top of New England's highest mountain, Mount Washington, which rises 6,200 feet above sea level and a mile above its New Hampshire valley floor. The cog railway was built in 1869 by Sylvester Marsh and has been popular ever since with New Englanders and visitors alike. The grade is very steep, and the engine is built for the grades it finds in ascending a full mile in the 3.5 miles of the railroad's length. Because of this sharp rise of the White Mountains above their valley floors, they compare in impressiveness and grandeur with the Rocky Mountains. They are high enough to be seen clearly from the ocean 75 miles away. At the summit, there is a magnificent view, 100 miles in all directions. Close at hand are other mountains of the presidential range, named for presidents, Jefferson, Adams, Madison, and the like. They are all part of a view that extends north to Maine, east to Vermont and New York, south to Massachusetts.
The cog railway was completed in 1869 and has been an almost continuous operation. It works by a ratcheting process that drives the engine uphill along a series of cogs in the track, pushing the passenger car before it. Today, the trip on the cog railroad is very much like it has been for over 130 years.
Would it be better if the men like this than that any chair? We just zoom it up to
by hand in a certain sequence, and some of those pieces weighed up to 200 pounds. So this is a whole lot easier. Stand up, folks, check it out. Like I said, no fair holding on. Over in the New England hurricane of 1938. So you might see pictures of the tracks turned up on their side. As the trestle went over, it twisted the tracks up with it. Have you heard about the weather we get up here? Very extreme. winds up over 100 miles an hour up here, miles long. A few weeks ago, they had a running race up the auto road.
What it looks like in the winter up here at the summit at the weather observatory. Oh, I saw this online. So this is like you're in a snowcat going up Mount Washington in a snowcat.
Change in the winter.
Home of the world's worst weather. Wow, look at this shot. It's awesome.
Another one of those individuals who was immersed in radio and so on. Bruce was lamenting the fact he didn't.
Hint winter. Or we can hit fall. And way over there we see the pond our cabin's on, Lovewell Pond. How cool is that? Here we are at the summit. Everyone's lined up to take photos at the top. That's where my brother and his wife Caitlin got engaged, actually. And this is the weather observatory where I've looked at jobs actually to apply to. That was an awesome ride up. Apparently it took 1,000 gallons of water, basically a ton of coal to get us up there, about 50 minutes to the summit. Miss Lizzie Bourne from Kennebunk died here, aged 23 years. There she is. So I guess she fell? Let's find out. How did she die? Here you go. Casualties in Mount Washington. Lizzie Bourne died of exhaustion and exposure after being caught in a storm almost at the summit. The Devil's Shingle. So it's the slide board that the railroad workers used to descend down the mountain on. The workday is done. That looks super unsafe. It's Lizzie Bourne again. the base of Cannon Mountain here at the New England Ski Museum. Been in here once before. It was really cool. And I did ride the tram. I might do it again. Ski Mobile 1938 from North Conway. And then here's one of the original lifts or tram cars from the Cannon Mountain Tramway, the first aerial passage tramway in North America. Oh, Bodie Miller. We love Bodie Miller. Born just a few miles from here and learned to ski at Cannon Mountain. Here's some of his medals. It's pretty great. So they have another location of the New England Ski Museum in North Conway. But this location has been here for 45 years. Tuckerman's Ravine.
Thank you.
We have a print of that at the cabin. Love that shot. The ridge before you holds the rock formation that gives Cannon Mountain its name. Look at that. The Great Stone Face. So unfortunately in 2003, the original Old Man crumbled, but it remains a cherished symbol of the state and its people. So in this profile plaza, they've set up all these viewing points, which we'll see over there. But this is where he was at. So they warned as early as 1876 that the rocks of the profile were shifting and slipping, and they predicted one day the formation would collapse. This rod here is from the summer of 1958 when they brought it up to try to stabilize it. You see that formation was really clear before 2003, after the big fall. I got it. Here it is. So this is how it happened in 2003. The Old Man was made up of 5 blocks of broken Conway granite naturally stacked on top of each other. Water and frost weathering over the years damaged the small bench, and it can no longer support the weight, and the remaining blocks just fell apart. Pretty tragic. We love the AT. Like, they were trying to preserve and prepare for this collapse of the formation. This is Kancamagus Notch. I love going to the attractions that you have to go under the underpass.
Near Franconia Notch, a few miles from Mount Washington, the mountains can be seen close up in a quicker way. An aerial car like those used in the Alps goes up the mountain on high cables, safely and easily, swinging out into space high above the lakes and trees. The forests cover more than half of New England, the northern part with its spruce, fir, beech, birch, and maple. The southern part with its oak, hickory, pine, hemlock. Again at a summit, a peak is reached, not only of a mountain, but of a glimpse at the character of New England. For New England is more than a section of land. It is a people, a set of ideals, and a way of living. Its history is one with that of the whole United States.
As you can see, the cables for the tramway, 4,000 feet elevation. There's the car I'm going to take back down. See this tram go down into the abyss. Creepy. So they run every 15 minutes. So essentially, I'm up here waiting, and then there's a cafeteria because it's a ski it's a ski resort also. So the cafeteria, and then this observation deck, which I'm sure is amazing. If I could see anything. Oh my God! Holy shit! Feels like Mount Washington up here. I'm done. In the cafeteria, getting warm, waiting for the tram. Here's a trail map of Cannon Mountain. History on the walls, some old photos. Look at that.
Distance.
Right.
And then we just went to the point of it's a much better experience.
Oh, well, this is random. Town of Lincoln, New Hampshire. It's a commuter rail. The T symbol. That's so crazy. And then what does that say? Boston and Maine. So is that like an Amtrak? And then this is the commuter rail?
The base is buried up to 10 feet deep in the soil.
Wow, that's massive.
Today, as in those earlier times, the goal is the same: to join the legion of visitors following in the footsteps of Darby Field, wishing to stand atop New England on the summit of Mount Washington. The Arctic-like environment at the top of the mountain also made it a mecca for scientific study. Botanists visited to see the alpine plants, and others came to study the varieties of weather. The first scientific expedition to the top of the mountain was in 1784, and by 1871, scientists wintered over on the mountain, which led to the establishment of the Mount Washington Observatory in 1874. Daily record-keeping and year-round observation was now a permanent feature of the mountain. Today, there is still a Mount Washington Observatory, which is now attached to the State Park Summit building.